Agriculture, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning. Today is Friday, the 19th of November 2021 at 9 o'clock. And I am Andrigus van der Westhuizen and privileged to be the chairperson of the Standing Committee in the Western Cape. On our agenda today, we have a consideration of the Western Cape Biodiversity Bill B2 of 2021, as well as the consideration and adoption of a number of minutes of previous meetings of this committee. And then there's also an opportunity for resolutions. Before I give the members present an opportunity to introduce themselves, I want to extend a special word of welcome to our procedural officer, Ms. Shireen Niekerk. And Ms. Niekerk, perhaps if you wouldn't mind just noting us the apologies received for this meeting, please.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning. Apologies have been received from Member Brett Hedden and Member Deirdre Bartman, and we have Mr. America standing in for Member Bartman this morning. Thank you, Chairperson.
But thank you very much. And honourable members, if you would be so kind just to introduce yourselves.
Matsodi Maseko, member of the Standing Committee.
Good morning,
everyone. Morning, everyone. Pat Baran, member of this committee.
Good morning, Chair. Derek America, alternate member. As indicated, I'm standing in for Honourable Bartman.
Yeah. Thank you, and you're most welcome, and thank you for assisting us today. Can I now give over to the officials from the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning to introduce themselves? I presume Ms. Shippey, you would go first.
Good morning, Honourable van der Westhuizen. Ms. Shippey has attended an apology for today. This is Marlene LaRosse, Director for Biodiversity and Coastal Management in the department. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. LaRosse, and you're most welcome. I see we also have representatives from Cape Nature.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Good morning to the members as well. It's Coral Burst from Cape Nature, Director for Biodiversity Capabilities, and I am accompanied by Dion Hignett from Cape Nature as well.
Good, thank you very much. And then we also have from the Premier's office, Mr. van der Schuyf.
Good morning, I'm van der Schuyf, Department of the Premier, Legal Services. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. van der Schuyf. And then we also have our own legal advisor. If you could just introduce yourself, Advocate.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning. My name is Romeo. My surname is Marstorp. I'm the legal advisor for the Western Cape Provincial Parliament and assigned to this committee in respect of this bill. Thank you, Chairperson.
Good, thank you very much. And then we are also assisted by our ICT staff who make it possible for us to meet virtually. Ms. Candice Morris, hearty welcome to you. Then we also have Ms. Mshompelu, also committee assistant. And then Mr. Shiraz Assam, also from ICT. Thank you very much for attending. They are available to assist members who may be experiencing connection problems. And then, as I've said, a special word of welcome to Ms. Shireen Niekerk, who has walked this path with us every step, and it was really been sterling in assisting us getting this far with this process. Honourable members, just a little bit of background, and especially for those of you that have not joined us up to now or last week, the committee has now completed its deliberations on the stakeholder submissions received. We've raised some points of concern, and some points that we raised were clarified, and the department has responded to some of our points. And during the last week's meeting, we informally agreed to certain amendments to be effected to the bill, and we requested that the Western Cape Provincial Parliament Legal Advisor, Advocate Marstorp, then go back to draft these amendments in a proper legal and technical style. And Advocate Maastop has, in consultation with the department, completed this exercise, and those amendments have been circulated in the form of an A list to the members of the committee 2 days ago on the 17th of November 2021. The committee has also indicated that at this stage there are no further amendments to any of the other clauses in the bill, and having concluded the informal stage, we will now proceed to the formal stage of considering the bill, and if the committee is in agreement, then obviously we will be referring this bill to the legislature. Honourable members, I trust you are all with me, and please indicate by raising your hand if you want to add anything to what I've just stated. If not, I'm going to proceed by first putting to the meeting the motion of desirability for adoption. Now, this motion is to accept the principle of and the need for the legislation. And by adopting the motion of desirability, we agree to the principles of the bill, but not the details thereof. And this motion of desirability is based on the long title of the bill. There you have it on the screen. Thank you, Ms. Nikak. And you must please allow me just to read this motion into the record. Motion of desirability, Western Cape Biodiversity Bill B2 of 2021. And the motion reads as follows: that in the opinion of the committee, legislation is desirable to provide for the framework and institutions for nature conservation and the protection, management, and sustainable use of biodiversity and ecosystems in the province, and for matters incidental thereto, and that the legislation referred to the committee be taken as a basis. Honourable members, I've put that as a motion to the committee. Can I please ask that you indicate whether you agree with this motion or disagree? Can I see some hands just indicating whether you're in support? Thank you. I see Honourable America has given a thumbs up there. And there's another one. I see a hand being raised.
I'm in support, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Maseko.
It's fine with me.
As if that's accepted. Good. Thank you very much. The committee has agreed to that then. Good. Now, honourable members, we enter the next phase, which is the one where we will move to consider each and every clause of the bill. And we will then also be voting on these clauses. So I do hope that all members have got the bill as well as the amendments which were informally agreed to as a reference close on hand. Good. Now, please, I give you a moment just to get them in front of you. I have the bill here with me, and I'm going to put it now. If I say we're going to go clause by clause, I propose that in those cases where there are no amendments to the clauses, that I put a number of clauses to the committee, and that we then vote once on those clauses. But there where some amendments have been proposed, that we then consider those amendments separately. Everybody fine? I see Honourable America, you're unmuted. Would you like to come in here?
No, Chair, sorry, I will mute myself now.
Thank you. Good. Good. Honourable members, I trust we are all in agreement and all on the same page. So I will now be putting the amendments. Okay. Sorry, first the clauses. On clause 1, which deals with the definitions, there have been a few of the definitions where we did make some changes, where some changes were put forward. and therefore I now put to you clause 1, the definition of environmental legislation. Are there any objections to the amendment as per the A list? Again, I take silence then as agreement. Then I put the amendment to the definition of export. Are there any objections? Agreed to. I now put the new definition of well-being to substitute the existing definition. Any objections? Agreed to. The next one is the additional definition of the National Environmental Management Act. Any objections? So it's been put and agreed to. Then I put the additional definition, spatial development framework. Any objections? None. Agreed to. 3.6, the additional definition, spatial planning and land use management act. Any objections? None. Agreed to. And then the last one on clause 1. I just want to say, I just want to put clause 1 as amended as a whole. Any objections to that? Good. Members, it's then be agreed to. And please correct me, but my impression was that these were all agreed to unanimously. Good. Thank you. Then I put to the meeting clauses 2 to 4. Now, since there were no amendments that have been proposed for clauses 2 to 4, I put them together. Any objections to the committee accepting those clauses? Again, I take the silence as agreement. Again, unanimously agreed to. Clause 5, I put the amendments to clause 5. Any objection? And let me just quickly go to clause 5 and the amendment that we've had there. It was to omit the word and then also on page 13 in line 34, after section 6 to insert a comma and then on page 13 after line 34 to add the following paragraph. C, apply the environmental management principles contemplated in section 2 of the National Environmental Management Act. It's been put. It seems to be agreed to. Thank you very much. No objections. Then, since there have been no objections on clauses 6 to 15, I put now clauses 6 to 15. Any objections during the formal consideration? Again, none. Unanimously agreed to. I'm now putting clause 16, and there's an additional sub-clause which has been proposed for addition, and the sub-clause is 4. If the chairperson is for any reason unable to perform his or her functions, the vice chairperson, and failing him or her, the acting chairperson, must perform the functions of the chairperson. It's been put. Any objections? Thank you. Unanimously agreed to. Then clauses 17 to 36. Since no amendments have been proposed for clauses 17 to 36, clauses 17 to 36. Any objections? None. Thank you. Unanimously agreed to. The next one is clause 37. I put clause 37 to the committee. Any objections? Now, clause 37 has been amended by the omission on page 23 in line 48 to omit the comma 2013 and then in brackets Act 16 of 2013. Close brackets. Agreed to. Now clauses 38 and 39. Since there have been no amendments proposed for clauses 38 and 39, I put these clauses to the committee. Any objections? Again, none. Unanimously agreed to. Now, clause 40 on page 25 in line 32. After the second notice, the committee has proposed an amendment and the addition of and afford them a reasonable opportunity to comment. The clause has been put with its amendment. Any objections? None. Thank you. Unanimously agreed to. The next is clauses 41 to 46. Since there have been no amendments proposed for clauses 41 to 46, I put those clauses to the committee. Any objections? No objections? No abstentions? Unanimously agreed to. Clause 47, I put the amendments to clause 47. And the amendments are that on page 27 in line 51, after the word them, just the word being inserted a, and on page 28 from line 1 to omit subclause 5. I put clause 47 as amended. Any objections? Please, you must indicate if you would like to disagree or abstain, and therefore in the absence of that I take it that it's been unanimously agreed to. Since there have been no amendments to clauses 48 and 50, I put clauses 48 and 50 as originally published. Any objections? No objections? Agreed to. Clause 51. There have been amendments proposed to clause 51, and the amendments have been on page 29, line 7, to omit the third or, and then on page 29 as well, after line 7, to add the following paragraph. C, the Biodiversity Act, or. Honourable members, I put the clause 51 as amended. Any objections? None. Agreed to. Clause 52. There have been amendments proposed to clause 52. I put the clause with the amendment. Any objections? And the amendment was to omit the word granting and to substitute that with making a decision on. No disagreements. Therefore, this clause is as amended, agreed to. Clauses 53 to 62, as there have been no amendments being proposed for clauses 53 to 62, I put those clauses. Any objections? None. Agreed to. Clause 63, I put clause 63, which has been amended. And I put the amendment to clause 63. Any objections? Good. Now, the amendment has been to omit the word search in line 37 on page 32, and that the word search be substituted by the word inspect. And I put the clause as amended. Any objections? Agreed to. I now put clauses 64 to 70. Since there have been no amendments proposed for clauses 64 to 70, I put these clauses. Any objections? None. Unanimously agreed to. Then clause 71. Clause 71 there's been an amendment proposed. Sorry, honourable members, I think one of my papers have just touched my screen here in front. I do hope you still hear me. Since there's been an amendment to clause 71, I first put the additional subclause to clause 71, and the subclause reads, in brackets 4, the provisions of sections 56, 57, and 57A of the Criminal Procedure Act apply with the necessary changes to penalties, fines, and written notices contemplated in this section. Agreed to? Now, as we've now agreed to that addition, I put clause 71 as amended to the committee. Any objections? None. Agreed to. Since there have been no amendments proposed for clause 72, I put clause 72 to the committee for consideration. Any objections? None. Agreed to. I now put the new clause 73 to substitute the existing clause 73. Any objections? Is there anybody that would like me to read through it? I trust you all have the A list on hand. No abstentions, no disagreement. Therefore, clause 73, the new clause 73, has been adopted. I now put clauses 74 to 83. Now, since no amendments have been proposed for clauses 74 to 83, I put these clauses 74 to 83 to the committee. Any objections? None. Agreed to. Clause 84, there's been an amendment to clause 84, and I put the amendment to the committee. And the amendment is to add the following paragraph B, consult with organs of state whose areas of responsibility may be directly affected by the proposed regulations or notice. Any objections to that amendment? None. Agreed to. Thank you, honourable members. I now put to you clauses 85 to 88. Since there have been no amendments for these clauses, I put 85 to 88 to the committee. Any objections? I don't see any hands. Agreed to. The next one is clause 89, the short title of the bill. I therefore put clause 89 to the committee. No comments. Agreed to. And then I just quickly want to put to you as well the schedule to the bill. There have been no amendments proposed to the schedule in the bill, and I now put the schedule for consideration. Any objections? None. The schedule has been agreed to. Honourable members, I now put the long title, and I'm going to read the long title. To provide for the framework and institutions for nature conservation and the protection, management and sustainable use of biodiversity and ecosystems in the province and for matters incidental thereto. It's been put to the committee for consideration. Honourable members, I take it that it's been agreed to unanimously by this committee. Honourable members, thank you very much. I now ask you to consider the bill as a whole, and I put the entire bill as amended to the committee. Are there any objections to the committee adopting the bill? None. So the bill as a whole has been agreed to. Now, honourable members, now that we've agreed to the bill, I put to you a draft report for adoption in terms of our report to the legislature, and I will give the presiding officer an opportunity to put this on the screen as well. Ms. Niekerk, would you be able to give to beam the report?
I'll do so in a minute, Chairperson, but just for the record, when you put clauses 48, 49 and 50, you actually said clause 48 and 50 for the record. I think you meant clauses 48 to 50.
Good, thank you for that correction. I believe that is also understood and agreed to by the committee. Honourable Maran, I see you're unmuted. Would you like to?
No, Chair, it was on the same matter, 48 and 50, 48 to 50.
To 50.
I also captured it if you said and not to.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for being alert and assisting me in this regard. Good. Honourable members, you should see on your screens now the report from this committee. Ms. Niekerk, the report appeared on my screen and then disappeared. There you are. Thank you. Good. So the report with reference number 1141/2/11. Report of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning on the Western Cape Biodiversity Bill V2 2021, dated the 19th of November 2021. The Standing Committee on Agriculture, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning, having considered the subject of the Western Cape Biodiversity Bill, in brackets B2 of 2021, referred to it in accordance with Standing Rule 173, reports the bill with amendments, in brackets B2A of stroke 2021 and B2B hyphen 2021, and that is what that I now put to the committee for consideration. I see your hand is still raised, Ms. Niekerk. It seems to me as if there's agreement that this report can be adopted by the Standing Committee. Everybody in agreement with that? It's been put and it's been unanimously agreed to. Thank you very, very much, honourable members. At this point in time, please allow me just an opportunity to pause and to say thank you very much for your attention, your consideration, your inputs. And honourable members, I think you will allow me if I also extend this word of thanks to Ms. Marlene Larosse and her colleagues, also from the side of Cape from the department as well as from Cape Nature. Thank you very much. If I read the history of this bill, where it was first considered by Cabinet in 2014, I'm really grateful that we could come to this stage of the bill. And I particularly would like to extend a word of thanks also to our support staff here from the Western Cape Provincial Parliament, who really assisted us in bringing this far. To our two advocates, Advocate Maasdorp, our legal advisor, but I believe that Advocate van der Schuyf also did valuable work behind the scenes. Thank you very much for your support and input as well. Honourable members, I believe that this will, once adopted by the legislature, will really bring in a new phase into the history of biodiversity and conservation, as well as particularly the entity Cape Nature, and that with Cape Nature and the new rules for the board, etc., that that entity would be even better positioned to fulfill its mandate in the Western Cape. So thank you very, very much for that, and I think you will allow me, if I really highlight also the contribution of our presiding officer, Ms. Niekerk, without whom's guidance I really would not have been able to lead us in the road this far. Thank you very much. Honourable members, if there are any comments at this point in time, please indicate by raising of hands. Otherwise, we will then continue to the consideration of the minutes. Any input from the department, from Cape Nature? Ms. Laros, I hope you would be able to have a wonderful weekend, and that you would be relieved that this enormous task that it seems to have been handed to you, that you've been able to accompany us this far. I saw your hand.
Thank you, Chair. Just a word of thanks from my side to Dot P and Advocate Maasdorp, Shireen, as well as the committee, for your attention to this important legislation and its effective passage. We're most grateful. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Laros. Now, Ms. Niekerk, are you ready for us to move to the next item on the agenda?
Chairperson, thank you. I just want to point out that my senior procedural officer has just let me know that in terms of the report, I used a short dash between the bill number and the year, and it should be a long dash. And with the committee's permission, I'd just like to amend the report to insert the long dash instead of the short dash, please.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
You know, dash has got a number of meanings, and I would like you to just stay with us a little bit and not dash off.
I won't, Chairperson. I'll flag the minutes shortly.
Thank you. Honourable members, we will now be considering the minutes of the 9th. I also would like you to consider that for us. That was the meeting that we had, I think, last week and Tuesday. Thank you. There you see the attendance register. Apologies were received from Honourable Maran. So in this meeting, I believe it's only myself and Honourable Maseko that may be able to consider this. Can I have a proposal that these, well, let's first go through the pages. Page 1, page 2. Thank you. I believe it's page 3. It was the consideration of the annual report, and I saw the hand of Honourable Maseko.
Yes, Chair, I propose that we adopt.
Thank you very much. We don't need a seconder, but I will second, and thank you very much. The minutes are duly adopted. Can we get the next set of minutes, please? Honourable members, you will recall that last week on Tuesday, we had a morning meeting for the annual report, and then the afternoon, I think we considered the biodiversity bill. Page 1, there you see, again, Honourable Maran was absent. And again, I think it's only myself and Honourable Maseko that would be able to express an opinion on the correctness hereof.
Yes, Chair, I propose that we adopt, and Member Maran send an apology, was not absent, Chair.
Can I just, can we go back to the attendance? Was Honourable Maran marked as apology? Yes.
Apology, Chairperson.
Yeah, no, so that Honourable Maran, I trust you are in agreement that your apology has been noted.
Yes.
Good, thank you very much. It's been put, it's been supported, and therefore the minutes has been adopted. The next set is that of the 10th of November. There it's myself, Honourable Maseko, and Honourable Maran. We were all, and I see Honourable Smith is also with us today. Welcome, Honourable Smith. Thanks for joining us. So we've got a number of people that can propose that these minutes, page 1, page 2.
Chair, I'm going to start by proposing that we adopt.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Maseko.
A second.
It's been seconded and duly adopted. Thank you very, very much. Honourable members, thank you very much for your input this morning, for your support, also for your consideration of the bill first and now the minutes. We do have an opportunity now for resolutions. If any members would like to propose any resolutions at this point in time. If none, I want to say this is not the last meeting of this committee for this calendar year, and perhaps Ms. Niekerk, you could just give us an indication, because we've had some feedback, I believe, was it from the NCOP, which will affect our program going forward. Ms. Niekerk, won't you just address us?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. I think members will note that there was a meeting to be scheduled next week on the 24th of November for the committee to consider its final mandate on the National Environmental Management Laws Amendment Bill. Now, I think I just gave members an indication, save the date on our WhatsApp group, and I have not sent out formal meeting invitations yet, and a good thing I didn't, because that the NCOP informed me yesterday, due to the outcome of the meeting that they had on Tuesday past regarding the NEMLA bill, that they will not be ready to provide provinces with the amendment. Well, it's now the E version of the bill and F version of the bill that the committee needs to actually vote on in its final mandate. So they won't be ready with the bill by next week, which means that meeting of the 24th of November will be now postponed to the 30th of November. But I will be in contact, and I will communicate the new date and time to members once it's been confirmed with the programming authority. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Niekerk. So, honourable members, as you can see, there is still some work for this committee to be done. And I want to say thank you very much up to now for a year that required quite a lot of the members of this committee, with us having to serve more than one provincial department. You know that we had to look for even additional time slots to meet, etc. But I really want to say thank you very much. Thank you also for the wonderful way in which you've supported me as a chairperson, but particularly also in this legislative process that we've just concluded as far as the committee is concerned. And with that, honourable members, I'm going to wish you all a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend ahead. I think a number of us are still recovering, and I do hope that you will all be safe. Thank you very much, and go well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. All the best for you too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, members. Advocate Marstorp too.
Thank you. Good day.
Thank you, members.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, member.